What's up, troops? How's it going? Welcome back to a new video. It is looking like Chinese nationals may have possibly entered the Ukraine and Russia war. And also, are Ukraine actually holding off Russia from pushing through certain areas? Are they actually gaining ground over the last month? That's what we're going to dive into in today's video. But before we get started, do head over to combatreadyhq.co.uk. The link is in the description to check out some of our amazing coffee blends and some of our merch. This is our newest one here, single origin Indonesian coffee blend battle brew. If you want to stay focused or get yourself ready and get yourself up for the fight on exercise or ops, then we've got you covered. But getting into this then. Ukraine war latest, Russia's spring offensive already begun. Over 160 Chinese nationals fight against Ukraine. So at least 163 Chinese nationals are serving in Russia's armed forces as of early April, according to Ukrainian intelligence documents seen by the Kiev Independent on April the 9th. Another document showed photos and passport details of 13 Chinese recruits who were being selected for service in Russian army as of April the 2nd. There are 155 Chinese citizens who are fighting against Ukrainians on the territory of Ukraine. So what this comes down to is there was an actual video, which I can't show you on YouTube, but basically there has been a video released of 2 Chinese soldiers who have been captured. But as you'll see here, in a carefully written post on social media platform Telegram, Volodymyr Zelensky accused the Russian army of deploying Chinese citizens on the battlefield in eastern Ukraine. What about the proof? Well, the Ukrainian president says his security services captured 2 people from China in the Donetsk region, along with identity documents, personal data, and their bank cards. This is where it gets a little bit suspicious for me. We'll cover that in a minute. A video of a man in military fatigues who had been captured by Ukraine was pinned to the bottom of the statement. We get snippets of conversation where the alleged combatant seems to be talking about the events. They've got his face here covered, but if you actually go back, I don't know if they're going to show it in there, but there's a picture of him there. You'll see it there. There. That's his face. Let's see if we can get, here we go. This is apparently one of the Chinese soldiers who has been captured in the Donetsk region. And there's 2 ways you can look at this. Is obviously Ukraine intelligence services are going to be massively looking into this, because if any other nationals enter the war, you want to know about it, because you want to know, are they just doing it voluntary? They feel like they need to enter the fight, or has that nation actually sent those sort of citizens, soldiers there to support the war? The captured Chinese soldiers have been identified as Wang Guangnang and Zhang Renbo. Hopefully I haven't butchered them. Born in 91 and 90 respectively. So pretty young, one of them. One of the captured soldiers claimed he paid 300,000 rupees, roughly $3,000, to a middleman in China to join the Russian military in exchange for the promise of citizenship. This is what I mean. So I believe China are denying sending any soldiers to the war, and they're saying they've told all citizens to not get involved. But China could just be being sneaky and send them off. What makes me think that these are possibly just Chinese citizens volunteering, or they've possibly been lied to by someone, is apparently them having personal documents and bank cards. Because I believe China are smarter than that. And if they were going to send anyone to help with the Ukraine and Russia war, they were going to start sending bods over, they would tell them to sanitize all their kits and have nothing on them that can basically link them back to China. So that's my personal thoughts on that. But you've also got to look at it from the other side, is that Ukraine have foreign national volunteers supporting them in the Ukraine-Russia war. We know that the Russians have North Koreans, and it's looking like China are possibly entering this war, whether that's from voluntary citizens or China doing a bit of sneaky beaky through the back door, sending guys over and obviously denying all knowledge. But Ukraine are doing the same. They do have foreign national volunteers. So you can't say it's all right for Ukraine, whether Russia are in the wrong and obviously Ukraine are just doing self-defense. I totally, get that. But if they've got their sort of foreign legion in a sense, why can't Russia? But ultimately, it should just be Ukraine and Russia versus Ukraine and Russia in a minute, and hopefully they can come to some sort of ceasefire deal. So, according to Zelensky, Ukraine is ready to pay up to $50 billion for future military aid package as well. Cool. Yeah. So, but what we've got here as well is, are Ukraine holding off Russia and possibly cutting them off from making any sort of further offensive action? So you got the Prokhof region here, and if you actually look over, so they've been flanking round from the left into sort of this sort of major sort of built up area. If you actually look over the last sort of month, 5 to 6 weeks, they've actually been pushed back. So you'll see that again. They've actually been pushed back, and here I believe from the look, the sort of recce I've done on the map with this M30 road, it's a major sort of supply line. So it's very important to Ukraine and to Russia, because ultimately you want to get supplies to the front line as fast as you possibly can. And if you've got some sort of major supply route that you can go down, then that's going to sort of increase your capability. But we'll show this again here. Sort of, they were pushed up here and along here. And then if you go back to April, Ukraine is sort of cutting them off and making a sort of a counter-offensive. There's a lot has gone on in this region. So as we see here, news updated. So Russian aviation conducted airstrikes as per usual on sort of the city, onto the built-up area, and there's just your sort of standard sort of clashes within the region. So we're going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to be doing more videos on this just to see what is going on, see where we're actually looking at how sort of Ukraine and Russia are making up ground. We're trying to do this a lot more regularly throughout the week. I've been reading up on it a lot recently, especially with the ceasefire deals, to see whether this war is going to end, and it really does interest me. So that's roughly what's going on in a minute. I'll do a more updated video in the future. But has China entered the war? I don't know. We know they like to. They're a bit like Russia. They will happily test you, whether that's cyber, your response times. There's always talks of sort of Chinese and Russian spies. 155 soldiers isn't many at all. So to me, that sounds more like voluntary sort of citizens going over, whether they feel like they need to get involved in the war, like the foreign nationals that are joining the Ukraine Foreign sort of Legion, or whether they're sort of slowly sending over troops to slowly get involved and sort of help back Russia. Or these Chinese, like I said, if you read that story, they might have just been lied to and said, if you join the war, you pay this, we give you sort of Russian citizenship if they're trying to sort of get away from China. That's where we're currently at. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.